to Living Traditions Homestead. My name is Sarah, and today I have a fantastic recipe to bring to you. It is a cold, nasty day out, and this is perfect for a winter day. Now, I've made this recipe several times, but I hadn't made it yet this season, and boy, when I did, everybody loved it. In fact, I have taken this very recipe to potlucks, and it is always a total winner, so I hope that you try it. It's a chili casserole that is topped with cornbread. It is so amazing to have both of those things combined into one dish. It's not very difficult, and I want to show you today. A lot of the ingredients in my recipe today are from our very own homestead, either from our garden or from our animals. I'm going to be pulling things out of the freezer, and I'm going to be using a lot of the canned goods that I stored up over the summer for just this purpose. So a lot of times people ask me, you can all of this, you put everything in the freezer, how do you then use it and incorporate it into your meals throughout the year? Well, this is an absolutely perfect opportunity for you guys to pay attention to that. Also, I do a lot of bulk buying for things that we just don't produce or can't produce on the homestead, and today also uses a lot of those ingredients as well. I'm going to be putting this entire recipe down below in the description. It will include the chili casserole portion as well as my favorite cornbread recipe that we're going to put on top. We're going to start off by browning some meat in this Dutch oven. It could be any pan, but I'm also going to add in some onions and green peppers at this time. Now, I'm going to be using ground pork from our pigs this year, and they're very lean. So I am going to put just a tablespoon or so of oil in the pan before I put that meat in there. You don't have to use ground pork. You can use any kind of ground meat that you have available. Beef, venison, turkey. It would all taste very good. I'm also going to add 1 cup of diced green peppers. Now, these are green peppers from our garden that I diced and froze. The same with the onions, about 1 cup of diced onions. We grew these too. I'm going to turn on the heat. Stir that around so it gets browning. And while it's cooking, I'm going to gather together the seasonings that we're going to be adding to this meat once it's almost browned. The chili portion of this recipe is just packed with flavors. So we're going to get the seasonings ready now so we can incorporate them into the browning meat. By adding the seasoning into the hot meat and the cooking onions and green peppers, it'll really wake up those seasonings before we add all of the liquid. So we're going to start off with chili powder. Now, I love chili powder, and so I go a little bit on the heavy side. My recipe calls for 2 to 3 tablespoons of chili powder, and I am going to go ahead and put in 3 tablespoons. I'm just going to mix all of these seasonings up into the same bowl so I can just dump them in to the meat all at once. So that's 3 tablespoons of chili powder. We're also going to add cumin. I also love cumin or cumin, however you say that. And you can add 1 to 2 tablespoons. I'm going to add 2. Now, I like chili to have a little bit of a spicy kick, but not too much because our kids don't really like it that much. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper, 1.5 teaspoons of salt. We use pink Himalayan salt. And then we're going to add some garlic. Now, you can go heavy or light on the garlic. Today I'm going to use 3 cloves of minced garlic, but I think even 4 would be good. Peeling and mincing garlic is so easy when you have one of these gizmos to take the skins off, and this gizmo to mince up the garlic. Okay, let's go check on the meat. Okay, the meat is looking fantastic. It's doing what it should be doing. And so we're just gonna add all of the seasonings and the garlic all at once. We're gonna stir it in to incorporate that, and we're gonna let it cook in there for about 2 or 3 minutes before we start adding the rest of our ingredients. Okay, it's time to add the liquid ingredients. I don't think I've ever told you that making chili is one of my absolute favorite recipes to make. Now, this isn't my standard chili. It doesn't have a lot of all of the, liquid ingredients and stuff. We're making a casserole version of my standard chili because we don't want so much liquid. If there's too much liquid, then the cornbread topping is gonna stay soggy right on the bottom. And when it's cooked, the cornbread will soak up a lot of that moisture. So we want to keep it pretty dry, chili consistency. But there are liquids that we need to add. So we're going to start off with 1 pint of just plain tomato sauce. This is from our garden. 1 pint of drained diced tomatoes. These are also from our garden. Now in my standard chili recipe, I don't drain them. I just add all of that liquid into the chili. But like I said, we don't want this to be super liquidy. I'm gonna add 1 pint of rinsed and drained kidney beans. Now beans in chili is really controversial with some people. Some people don't want a bean anywhere near their chili. Other people say it's not chili unless there are beans in the chili. So I want to hear from you whether or not beans belong in chili. Make sure you tell me in the comment section below. Okay, so we've got some pretty basic ingredients in our chili casserole mixture, and I'm going to mix it up a little bit with some of my secret ingredients that I add to my standard chili recipe. Maybe you're gonna think I'm crazy, I don't know. Maybe I am crazy. The first thing I'm gonna add is about a tablespoon of sugar. And the reason I'm gonna do that is to offset the acidity of all of the tomato products that we put in there. So just 1 tablespoon of sugar. Now I just used raw sugar. You can use whatever kind of sugar you have. I'm also going to add about 1 teaspoon of soy sauce or liquid aminos. I really like the flavor it adds. So about 1 teaspoon of that. And I'm also going to add about 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. However you say that. About 1 teaspoon. Has anybody ever said that right the very first time they say it? I don't know. Why'd they have to make that so complicated? Okay, so we're gonna mix that all up. Doesn't that look fantastic? Okay, we're gonna turn on the heat. We're gonna bring this up to a boil, and then we're going to have it simmer for a while so that some of this liquid can evaporate and so that the flavors can really incorporate into the chili casserole portion. Okay, let's move on to the cornbread topping. Now, cornbread is also one of my favorite things to make. This recipe is amazing, and I think what makes the difference is I grind my own whole corn. Well, I buy this in bulk, so I grind the whole corn in my grain mill into corn flour or cornmeal. I actually grind it a little bit smaller than cornmeal. It actually ends up kind of like flour. And I think that the taste and the flavor of the corn comes through in this cornbread more than just buying it store-bought. Now, I understand that not everybody has a grain mill and not everybody has access to bulk whole corn, but if you have a chance, you need to try it that way. So regular cornmeal would be fine in this recipe. I have preheated the oven to 400 degrees. That's what we're going to be baking this recipe at. So we need to get started making the cornbread batter. So we're going to start off with 1 cup of cornmeal or corn flour. We're going to add 1 cup of white flour or wheat flour. I'm gonna do half whole wheat. I buy wheat, soft white wheat, and I also use my grain mill to grind that up into flour. So a total of 1 cup of wheat flour. I'm gonna use half a cup of the whole wheat and half cup of all-purpose flour. We need to add 1 tablespoon of baking powder. One teaspoon of salt. And now the last dry ingredient is also pretty controversial. It's sugar. Now, some people love sweet cornbread. Other people cannot stand sweet cornbread. Our family likes sweet cornbread, so I'm gonna add sugar, the raw sugar. You can use whatever sugar you have or whatever you want. So you can either omit this altogether. We put 5 tablespoons, and I know that sounds like a lot, but we love it. You can put less than that. You can put none. That's another thing that I want to hear from you in the comment section below is how you feel about sweet cornbread. Love it or hate it? Okay, I'm just gonna mix up the dry ingredients right here. On to the liquid ingredients. I'm gonna start off with 2 eggs. I'm just gonna put it right in with this dry ingredients. And then when they're all in there, then I'll mix them all together. Now these eggs are from our chickens. They're doing a pretty good job still laying through the winter. Don't forget to keep stirring your chili. Okay, so the eggs, we're gonna add 1 cup of milk. Now this is the milk from our cow, our Jersey cow. Her name is Hope. 1 cup. And a friend of mine just recently bought me this handy lid with a handle, and it has a spout. It makes pouring from these half-gallon jars so easily. So we're gonna put in 1 cup of milk. And 1/4 of a cup of oil. Whatever oil you want. I am using avocado oil. I'm gonna poke the egg yolks, and we're just gonna mix this up. Okay, that is finished, and it's ready to go on top of our chili casserole. Well, it is time to start assembling this and getting it ready to go into the oven. Now, I probably don't need to transfer the chili from this Dutch oven to this casserole dish, but I prefer to do that because I want this greased around the top and around the sides for the cornbread mixture. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. It works best for me. So I'm just gonna pour in the chili into this casserole dish. This is a 3-quart casserole dish. I'm just gonna spread this around until it's even. Now I mentioned that I greased it, and I used coconut oil to grease this. Okay, now for the batter. And with the batter, I'm just going to pour a thin ribbon of this all over until it evenly coats the casserole. And because cornbread batter is thin, this works really easily, and you don't need to spread it out at all. It does it all by itself. Okay, this is all set for the oven. We're gonna bake this at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes. So while the casserole is cooking, I want to talk with you a little bit about bulk buying, because I talk a lot about bulk buying. We raise a lot of our own food on the homestead, but there just are some things that we can't raise here. And so I rely heavily on a company called Azure Standard to buy in bulk a lot of organic products. Now we live in rural Missouri, southern Missouri, and the closest town to us is about 20 minutes away, and it has a Walmart and it has a small locally owned grocery store. The Walmart has very few products that are organic, a lot less than what's available at the Walmarts in big cities, and the locally owned grocery store carries very, very little organic. But Azure Standard offers really good prices, especially with bulk items, and a fantastic quality product. So I just wanted to bring out some of the things to show you what we buy in bulk so you have an idea. Occasionally I will buy some organic produce from them. Last month I bought onions, and I often will buy potatoes. They offer a lot of grains in bulk like quinoa, barley, lentils, split peas, old-fashioned oats. This is rice. All these things I buy quite often. And seasonings, spices. This is turmeric, some oregano because I ran out. I buy peanuts and beans, garbanzo beans, other types of beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, black beans, and that kind of thing. They're a great price, great product. And the way it works is you order within your community, and there's a drop-off point. Once a month you order, and then a week or so later they drop off somewhere in your community, and I absolutely love it. If you want to learn more, I'll leave a link down below in the description area to Azure Standard. You can check it out yourself. If they do not deliver in your area, make sure you contact them and let them know that you're interested, and maybe they will set up a drop point in your area. Well, time is up. Let's see how it looks. Well, so far it looks fantastic, but it is so hot. We need to let it rest here and cool down a little bit before we dig in and taste a bite. Okay, let's cut into this cornbread topped chili casserole and see how it looks, and then we'll take a taste and see if it's good. I think I'm gonna recruit some reinforcements to take the first bite. Okay, let's give this a try. You first.
All right, I'm gonna try the chili first.
Okay.
Yum.
Well, I'm gonna try the
She makes great chili.
and cornbread.
And cornbread.
I'm gonna try the chili combined with the cornbread in the same bite. You guys, I love that.
Mm-hmm. When she takes this to church, it's always a hit at all the potlucks.
That's right. So you guys, I really hope you try this recipe. It is fantastic. We are getting a cold spell right now, and a lot of the country is as well. So it is a perfect time to fix this for your family, or to take to church potluck like I've done.
Right.
So you guys, if you're enjoying our videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. Make sure to share all of our videos with your friends. We'd appreciate it. And until next time, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care, and God bless.
God bless.